The focus of this video is how can we use Trig, SOHCAHTOA, to help us solve for side lengths. So first and foremost, let's just review that spelling of SOHCAHTOA, right? So is there, and then toa, right? And that's how you spell it. Remember that I really like to look at it like a fraction, just because that's how we have to set them up, right? So I like it a little bit more like that, but it's to each their own, right? So we're going to use now SOHCAHTOA to set up an equation, okay? So we're going to have, it's always the trig of an angle equals the ratio, right? So you can even think about it like the trig of an angle equals O over H, or the cosine of an angle is A over H, or the tangent of an angle is O over A. However you want to do that, okay? But that's kind of what we're doing, right? And this angle is going to be in parentheses, all right? So looking at number 2 here, you can see that here's the angle that we've been given. The first thing we should do is label OH and A based on that angle. So my H is across from the right angle, which is here. My A is always the other side touching, and O is over here by itself. That is so important that we can make sure that we label correctly. From there, I can see that I need something that deals with A and H. And the reason is because I have an X and on A, and I have a number on the hypotenuse. I don't want to do anything with O right now. There's nothing that's helping me or is asking me. So at this point, that tells me that I'm going to use cosine. So again, following this basic setup, I'm going to do the cosine of 38 equals, right? So there's the cosine of the angle, and then it equals adjacent over hypotenuse, so which is X over 16. So the thing I want to remind you of is from a previous unit. This gets a little confusing with fractions and how to solve them. So one strategy that we suggest is just turning this into a proportion, which we just did in similar figures. So now I can kind of see exactly how it's solved. So just to remind you, when we solve similar figures or proportions, we multiply diagonally and equal them to each other, right? So 1 times X is just X, and then cosine of 38 is now where I'm at, right? So cosine of 38, which, just as a reminder, if you are plugging this into Desmos, please make sure you're in degrees and not in radians. So cosine of 38, and then I need to multiply it by the 16, right? So this means that this is 12.61. And there is my answer, right? Because there's nothing more for me to do. X times 1 is just X, and then cosine 38 times 16. That gives me that side length, 12.61. In my check, I usually just double check. If I have the hypotenuse, this number should have been smaller. The hypotenuse should be the longest side. So let's try another one. Let's go to 6, okay? So remember those SOHCAHTOA facts here. So we have 58 as our angle. I have the hypotenuse. It's right here. And it looks like I have the adjacent again. So it looks like I'm going to use cosine again. But it could be different every single time. So you need to set it up and look at your proportion. So the cosine of 58 equals A, which is 18 over X. So this one has a completely different setup. Can you see how X was on the top up here, but X is on the bottom? So not every proportion is set up correct, or not correctly, but the same. So let's go ahead and do our diagonals. So this is 1 times 18, which is 18. And this is cosine of 58 times X. So there's one extra step I need to do here because X is not by itself. I don't know what this side length is yet. So the only way I can get X by itself is to do the opposite of what I see, which I see multiplication. So I'm going to divide by cosine of 58. So in my calculator, that's what I would type in, right? So 18 divided by, and then I'm typing in cosine and the angle. Again, a reminder to make sure that you are in degree mode. When I did this, I got 33 5.97, which I should get a larger number because I am looking for the hypotenuse. I don't already have it. And this is kind of how this will roll as you go, right? This next one, if we look at the setup, this is, it looks like I have the hypotenuse here and I have the opposite because the adjacent doesn't have anything here. So in this one, I would have set this up as sine of 35. Sine of the angle equals O over, oops, not over H. I would have done X over 13. Make it into a proportion, draw my diagonals, and solve. So they each proportion that you set up will either be an example like this one, or it'll be an example like this one. There's no other type, okay? If you have any questions on process of solving, or if Desmos is, if you're unsure how to change that into degree mode, or any of these things are not checking out, please make sure that you come and talk to us so we can clear those up.